IVM.
Hello, welcome to Football Model. My name is Saru. We are recording this when the score between Istanbul Başakşehir and Manchester United is 2-1. And to feel bad from United side, we have at 6'1", 240 pounds, Mana.
Yeah, hi everyone.
And in the opposite ring, the cheerleader for a mediocre team, Thanos, Baru.
Yeah, whoop, whoop, whoop. And if you think all of this sounds scripted, it's because we're doing it again. Because Sarah forgot to press the record button.
Hey, you can't say all that, okay?
Oh, shit.
All right. So, Baru, how do you feel after beating a mediocre United side? Do you even feel happiness?
See, at the end of the day, we went into that game, being higher on the table. So it didn't feel like one of those underdog victories on paper. But, by keeping a track on all the social media conversations that were going on before that game, it felt like United were walking in with Arsenal were walking into that game with a 3-goal handicap or something.
Why? What are the social media conversations you were keeping track of?
I don't know, Rashford with a hat-trick in the previous game, everyone just extrapolated that into the Arsenal game. So,
why is Arsenal that bad that whatever Rashford does the previous game just gets extrapolated to this game?
If Lingard can score against Arsenal, I think that just defines the status that Arsenal is at right now.
All right. Mano, do you actually think that United were the underdogs in that game?
United were the underdogs? No. We were, of course, the favourites in the game. And we disappointed because the players did not put in enough effort on that day. So, yeah, we were defeated by the underdog.
I see. So, have you given up your Manchester United?
Yeah, because I remember the Manchester United Mumbai account. They were talking about how there's no way that Arsenal can defeat United and something. United's bench is stronger than Arsenal's first team.
Really? Wait, I know you tweeted something to that effect after the game. I've kind of figured out your Twitter game, Baru. You just wait till the event happens and then you write it.
I was like, okay, sure. If your bench is stronger than our first team. Such tweets, it's better not to go out on a foot and, say that.
All right. So here was MUSC Mumbai's tweet. It can't get easier than this. Arsenal at home, even our bench looks stronger than their first team. Join us tonight for the live on at 9 p.m. on Instagram. Look, man, at the
Mano, were you a part of that live?
No, because he's
a
I was fan. I don't think
Mano, are you a part of the group that has given up on their Manchester United membership?
Yeah, certain members have, but I am not one of them.
All right, Mano, let's talk about the game. Where did it go all wrong for Manchester United? Did Arsenal actually dominate United? I didn't watch the game. It seemed like such a boring game to watch.
No, I think so. Whatever I gathered from the game was that United were not up to the mark. The players looked pretty tired. Fred and McTominay started in the midfield. They were starting, I think, their fifth game in 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, their fifth game together, and they looked pretty tired. Bruno Fernandes had an off day, and it just exposed us throughout the midfield. And Pogba had his yet another day at United where he just doesn't perform.
Pogba had another day at United.
Yet another day of his where we are just waiting for him to get unlocked. And now we have a player in front of him. We have two players at the back to shield the defense. And even then Pogba just couldn't. And the problem was that we could not string passes together. And
it's a footballer chastity belt, man. No one can find the key.
So, Baru, here's the thing. In the movie The Matrix Reloaded, the chaiwala...
the chaviwala from Mumbai.
The chaviwala, he found the key pretty fast. So why does it take so much time to unlock Paul Pogba?
Because the chaviwalas keep changing at United, right? He came in. Whose signing was he? Manav?
Pogba? Mourinho. And
that guy couldn't find the chavi, and then they changed the chaviwala, and now they've got a new chaviwala.
He's not a new chaviwala anymore. It's been almost 2 years since this chaviwala has the job.
Solskjaer has been around for 2 years already.
Yeah.
Arsenal was his 100th game.
Yeah. So before
100. Oh God.
before we talk about Solskjaer, Baru, is Paul
Solskjaer has a
Pogba?
better record than Ferguson right now, right?
First 100 games, maybe because Ferguson also didn't
Had
have
a
a good
very
start.
bad
But
first
if
5
you see
years.
the post-Ferguson era, Ole has been the second best after Mourinho. But all have a 50 to 60% win ratio. Solskjaer is
Isn't
the
he also
second.
better than Jurgen Klopp right now?
Yeah, he's better or almost equal to Jurgen Klopp in his first 100 games.
Man, what are these games that Jurgen won that United didn't, man?
This almost seems like Baru loves Ole so much that he just is trying to justify him keeping a job. Why is
No,
this?
I'm just like seeing that he's the second best manager that United have had after Mourinho. After Ferguson.
That will be so cool. After Mourinho, the second best manager, when there's only been
And
one.
unko bhi like this team jinka bench was like stronger than that team. Unne bhi hara diya inko yaar. Like what's happening, man?
So my reading
Quality of United right now.
My reading of the entire game was this: that Arsenal, I think.
But wait, I think we should pause for a score check for Istanbul Shahers or whatever.
Başakşehir, क्या हुआ? 2-1 halftime. It's
2-1 halftime is good.
Yeah. So Manav,
Okay.
how would you rate Ole's first 100 games? Yeah, he has a better record than Fergie, but you can't really compare anything to Fergie right now. And right, he's done some transfers. He clearly can't. All the players he's taken, they play well for the first 1 month and then they start dropping. And I think the more scary aspect is Mr. Bruno Fernandes is not the same Bruno of February and March. Uska bhi patta kat gaya abhi. So what's going on? How would you rate Ole's 100 games? Why do you want him as a manager? Just get rid of him. Just because he scored a free goal in 1999.
No, Saru. I don't really agree with that. I think Ole's tactics are very underappreciated. He has won enough big games, and it's just the team which are below us in the table generally, which just keep a low block in front of the goal that we struggle to score against or win the game against. That I think should get fixed pretty soon with Van de Beek once Van de Beek gets into the system, because I think Van de Beek, Pogba and Bruno, all three cannot start together, and since Pogba has not really been working for us, I think once we find a regular place for Van de Beek and Bruno together in the lineup, we should be able to pierce that low block which a lot of teams have been playing against us. So I think it's just a matter of time. Things will fall into place. And today, I think Fabrizio Romano in his podcast has also said that United have confirmed that they are backing Ole for the longer term. Although they said this for Mourinho as well, and they said it for the previous managers also.
Exactly. That sentence is like the basis for every firing of manager.
Yeah, and you can just not call it a coincidence that Pochettino was on Monday Night Football this time.
Oh, totally. The only club when they say that they're backing a manager and you can believe them is Arsenal, because they have no money to pay the compensation. They're like, ye to rahega. But other thing I want to talk to you, Baru, about this game is, ex-United players who are all pundits now everywhere, right? They will go to extraordinary lengths just to blame everyone in the world. But their dear friend, what is this phenomenon called? Even the great man
nepotism,
called Roy. What sort of nepotism is? Even Roy Keane went to the extent of saying, "No, how can you blame the manager?
Blame the players."
Yes, he did. So, do you think?
So Roy Keane said that these players will be the reason that Ole loses his job.
Yeah, but
because they've been so underperforming.
But that's the whole point, no, Mano. When the players perform under any other manager, it becomes the manager's fault. But since this is your buddy, and you probably own like 3 horses together, right? So now you can't even criticize anyone. Anyway, that's about United. Let's talk a little about Arsenal. Is this victory, confidence-boosting victory, good enough to lose over the weekend, Baru?
Who are we playing on the weekend?
I will tell you so that you can confidently say you will lose.
Yeah, Arsenal is playing Aston Villa.
Oh, Aston Villa, the wounded Aston Villa.
Oh God, dude, they had such a good start, man. But dude, yeah, I think they're right. where they belong. Prime position to defeat Arsenal, with Grealish getting 2 assists and Partey giving up on Arsenal. But yeah, it was quite a good game for Arsenal, man. I mean, unlike what the previous games that United were losing to with the, parking the bus basically. This was one of those end-to-end games. I think first half Arsenal dominated. Second half, the minute it started, it felt like United, kuch to drugs karke aaye with, Ardab coming into the picture over there.
Where in Raigad police station.
What is drugs diya inko? But yeah, first 5 minutes, I think Arsenal didn't even touch the ball or something, and United were all over the place. They came really close, but then it went back to normal. Arsenal found the rhythm again. And
I think Thomas Partey had an amazing game.
It was definitely a game where all that comedy was happening just in the midfield.
Yeah.
Neither the defense nor the attackers really got enough of the ball to make mistakes or score goals or something. All the errors, all the brilliance, everything was happening in the midfield. Elneny and Partey theek hai, he's a new guy. Anyone who comes into the club fresh, you expect him to be good,
Oh, but Elneny, oh my God, I read he had a really good game.
Dude, Elneny was such a scene, man. You did not expect Elneny to firstly start over, let's say, Granit Xhaka, looking at how he's been playing after the lockdown. But Elneny just bossed the midfield along with Partey. And I think if Arsenal could just get into the market and get a good world-class, central attacking mid or something, creative guy.
Like Mesut Ozil.
Exactly.
Yeah, probably like a World Cup winner, German top assist.
Okay, fine, enough. Mano, the last question on this game. Was Mesut Ozil doing a live watch-along?
Oh, yes. So the only thing different this time was that he didn't predict the score and the scorers, because the previous 2 games after he got announced as, you're not in the team, he was saying, Acha, Laka is going to score 1, Elneny is going to score 1, stuff like that.
Dude, I would...
He was like, Arsenal will get 3 points. Kaun marega, mere ko pata nahi. But theek hai, go Arsenal, yeah, Gunners, yeah.
Dude.
But Elneny and Partey, I don't think Arteta should change them from the first 11 unless and until it comes to a rotation thing.
Yeah, but if Arteta is going to take inspiration from someone like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, he will definitely change them. He will try to break a winning combination and do his own thing.
How can she slap? How can they win?
Yeah, exactly.
What I was surprised was with the inclusion of Rob Holding. I mean, this guy had just come back from injury, and that was evident towards the later part of the game where this guy started pulling muscles and or maybe that was just time wasting tactics. I don't know, but I wasn't expecting Rob Holding to start. Mm-hmm. But yeah, he was decent. He was in an attack, so that was good for us.
All right, Mano, is Martial back from the next game or not?
Yeah, he will be available.
Next Premier League game. God.
Oh, it's the suspension. Yeah.
Keep up
he missed Newcastle, Chelsea, and Arsenal.
It wasn't like a proper red card. Poor guy.
What is a proper red card?
So Martial has been my favorite United player after Mata ever since they compared him to Henry, man. They're like, Henry just marta hai.
My favorite.
And that was the first goal he scored, just because he scored a side foot, angling the body goal. They're like, next Henry.
Dude, you have to say that. No. Did you see that map? Somewhere there was an article with a map of every country with their next Pele.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Nigeria ka kaun hai?
I will find that and I'll send it. It was so funny. India
next Pele or next Messi?
No, next Messi is the recent thing. Next Pele was the original thing. Ye to next Pele hai.
So back in your day, huh?
Exactly. After the 1978 World Cup, it was a rage. The next Pele. All right, let's take a break right now. There were 9.
Was Maradona the next Pele at one point?
No, dude.
Maradona, dude, they had that gap, right?
He's OG. All right, I think we should take a break right now. There were 9 other games in the Premier League, and we need to talk about all of them. And let's start talking about Aston Villa before anything else. Stay tuned to Football Total.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I want to let you all know about 2 new shows that we've launched this week. The first one is Millennial Athlete, hosted by Tanvi and Shlok. Both of them are, they spent their life playing badminton. and they know a lot of athletes, and they want to talk about the particular challenges that athletes face. Really, really great conversations. Do definitely check that out. The other show that I wanted to mention to you that we launched this week is Naan Curry. Naan Curry is a show it's about food and the history of food and the economics around food and its consumption and all that kind of stuff. It's a really, really interesting conversation. It's hosted by Sadaf, he's an author chef and former MasterChef India finalist, and Archit, who is a researcher who writes on behavioral science and economics. Definitely worth checking out. Besides that, we had a great week as always, right? Great stuff on all the normal shows. Do check those out. But with that, let me get you back to your show.
All right. Welcome back to Football Twaddle, my dear friends Manav and Baru are here. What's up?
What's up?
All right. Manav, I definitely know Baru did not watch this game, but there was a game called Southampton versus Aston Villa. Southampton were killing it. They were 4-0 up, and I was making a shitload of money on Dream 11. Right? Dude, at some point, only with that game, I was making like some $3,000 or something.
Okay.
Wow.
And then it starts. The downfall of Saru starts. And Aston Villa somehow scored 3 goals.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make of it. They had enough chances in the second half, but they were so bad in the first half.
Yeah.
Right? They've had a decent start to the season. What have you made of Aston Villa's season till now?
So Aston Villa's season has been really good. In particular, the game versus Liverpool, which they won 7-2. I mean, the two English midfielders, Jack Grealish and Ross Barkley, they've been doing really good together, and they've found this kid in the form of Watkins, who's been scoring regular goals, including a hat-trick against Liverpool. So it looks like a good combination. Personally, I always like this Aston Villa side. They have some good players. Tyrone Mings is a commanding defender. Douglas Luiz is a good central defensive midfielder again. And since they've signed Arsenal goalkeeper Martinez, so they've covered all the spots, and they look like sort of a complete team.
Yeah.
But again, James Ward-Prowse with those 2 brilliant dead balls. I mean, that just took the game away from them. And even the last 30-minute wonder was not enough to get a point for them.
Yeah, so I actually have a feeling Martinez is going to be Arsenal's downfall over the weekend, and all this exuberance of Arsenal fans. Since Baru will not be here for next week's podcast after the 2-0 crushing blow to Aston Villa, I'm telling right now that's what's going to happen. But Baru, what do you make of?
Do you think Martinez will celebrate after he scores against Arsenal?
Yeah, he'll go through like David Luiz or something. Okay, let's go through the other games. Leeds versus Leicester. Baru, Leicester, again. They are doing it again. They are now the second in the table. They'll remain second till like Feb. Then they'll give hope to some one big team, and they'll finish 5th by the end of the season, and it will be called a good season. But wow, man, I didn't think they'll do it again. What's up with that team?
It's the infamous Bielsa's side. And Vardy was all over them, right? Like, what he got 2 assists and 1 goal.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Dude, Jamie.
And there was a penalty, but he had already got substituted, so Tielemans had to take that penalty. The same had happened at Man City as well. Vardy was substituted.
Did either of you have him in your fantasy?
No.
No, I'm not playing fantasy these days.
Oh, I mean, my fantasy team sucks, so I'm sure I don't have it.
Talking more about that game, I think except the first 15 minutes of the second half, Leicester were all over Leeds. I mean, Leeds could not stitch 5 passes together because all they could do was put in long balls to Patrick Bamford. Bamford missed an easy chance with 40 seconds on the clock, and 20 seconds later, Leicester scored because of a mistake by Koch, the German defender, which Leeds have. So it was a very entertaining game, but 4-1. Deservedly, Leicester got the 3 points.
Oh, man.
A friend of mine had a bet, for I don't know how much, but the payout was ultimately like 10,000 or something for a score of 3-1.
Really?
And he was so happy for like 10 minutes. And then they got the penalty. Yeah.
Oh, that is so disappointing. Poor guy. He should consult me on scores. I'm really good at high scoring game predictions.
Oh, God.
Other than Aston Villa, Liverpool 7-2. I think I am pretty spot on in the game. Mano, Tottenham beat Brighton 2-1, hard fought victory. Gareth Bale scores after 7 years. Wow. That's a lot. Even for Tottenham standards, that's a really long wait for someone to score a goal.
Yeah, it was another okay game, but yeah, I mean, Tottenham had the better players on the pitch. They got the substitutes on. Bale was found himself in a very good position, and absolutely brilliant diagonal ball by Alderweireld, and then a weak foot cross by Reguilon. Brilliant, just amazing to watch. But again, they just scraped through because till the very end, Brighton were just pushing for that equalizer and could have got it. But Mourinho, the typical Mourinho last 10 minutes game it was. But they managed to get 3 points, unlike the Newcastle and the West Ham games earlier in the season.
Is Reguilon still the signing of the season, or has somebody else taken that place?
No. I called Højbjerg for the signing of the season.
Who?
Højbjerg.
The midfielder which Spurs signed from Southampton.
I don't know. I think Reguilon, for me, dude, he's the most exciting signing of the season of all clubs. After obviously Kai Havertz, Tino Werner, Ziyech, Thiago Silva. After like these 4 or 5 players, I think.
No one even talks about Diego Jota, man.
Yes, I wanted to talk about it. Baru, you think it's time over? Enough of this Firmino nonsense. No, everyone.
Okay.
Everyone can't be this bloody Olivier Giroud. You need strikers.
False 9 holding, ginger pressing forward.
Ginger pressing.
Did you see the video?
Which video?
It went viral last week or something. That's the word they actually use. Like instead of like ginger pressing, it's like ginger.
Ginger pressing.
Adrak daba diya.
Yeah. Manav, what's up, man? Why do we need Firmino? What use is he?
I have never been able to understand how Liverpool have managed to win the Premier League and the Champions League with Firmino as the only striker, because I don't think it's a sustainable structure of false 9. Most of the time he's in the middle of the pitch. You don't have any physical presence inside the box for the brilliant crosses which the 2 fullbacks you have. They throw in some brilliant crosses. He's not physical presence of the, so it's just unbelievable for me that the entire Premier League teams could not find a fix for this until this season and the latter half of previous season. People have been there.
Here's one thing I've learned in the last 1 year. You can't be so logical in this. So let's try this again. How shit is Bobby Firmino?
Answering brief.
He'll say very. Oh man. Exactly. But Diego Jota, dude, what a signing is turning out to be. Bloody hell.
Yeah, I'm happy because I support the Portuguese national team. So happy for that aspect.
Cheap or something, right?
What?
They got him for like really cheap or something, right?
35, 40 or
35.
Oh.
Yeah, but Sarumya, you cannot just neglect the assist from Jadon Shaqiri. I mean,
what a
you
ball,
don't get better assists than that. In the Premier League, at least, I have not seen.
Sure.
NMSL, I've seen it. The Premier League, you don't see this.
No, I mean.
But my point is this, Manav, if that assist was made to like Firmino, we would have been speaking about a glorious mess, right? So it doesn't really matter who assists in that team. You need someone to score. I have a feeling if Liverpool win the league this season, it will be primarily because of Diego Jota and no one else.
Maybe. Well, I think it's too early to say that, but because you don't know, कल को साला को भी वैसा इंजरी हो जाए वैन डाइक जैसा तो फिर काफी प्रॉब्लम हो जाएगा. But you never know. Alone.
We are getting distress messages from one of the panelists here. So let's move on to the games of the weekend. Manav, what's your game for the weekend? The one to look forward to?
I think, of course, there is United and Everton. Everton have lost a couple of games on the trot, I think. And United also have not been in good form in the Premier League at least. So
Everton started losing after James dropped out, right?
With his balls injury.
क्या प्रॉब्लम है सर? balls.
Dude, it's a podcast. We can say all this.
We won't have Raju Srivastav coming in and asking for us to censor it or something.
Yeah. But no, I think another game on this weekend would be City Liverpool.
So you pick
Guardiola,
one.
What anyone's going to watch, man.
No, I think overall City Liverpool will be a good game. Let's see what Guardiola comes up with this time around.
Dude, he'll come up with another piece of crap. Oh my God, I just can't wait for him to get out of this Premier League and just not get a job anywhere other than Ibar or something.
Yeah, whatever. Ibar Bandra. Reclamation. Oh God.
Yeah, every
Raiders FC.
For Champions League nights he'll have karaoke bar. All right, that's the game for. Let me just put City versus Liverpool as his game of the weekend. Baru, do you want to talk up Arsenal versus Aston Villa and how it's going to be a 6-5 thriller or something like that?
No.
What do you want to talk about? What is your game for the weekend?
Yeah, I think it's Newcastle Southampton, man.
Oh, all right. Give 2 reasons and we'll get out of this podcast right now.
Because I have Wilson in place of Ings. Ings is injured, so like...
Did you already make a change?
Too much of a backstory. Yeah, man. I'm tired of this thing they've got from last season here with the whole कि आज drop हो गया price, कल drop हो गया. I'm like, क्या है भाई? Like, relax, man.
I think this is my special message to a friend of ours, Rudra Joshi. Stop managing Baru's team and give him back the password.
Oh, Rudra actually got signed up by one of the better teams, Jasprit's team, this season. So he has quit Chelsea, of which I was a part of, and he's joined Leicester City now. And getting upset with that, even I gave up on Chelsea, and now I'm a part of Brighton, Hove and Albion.
Okay, I don't know. Manav and I are like whatever this talk is.
I think Manav is a part of that quartet thing, no? So,
part of the WhatsApp group, but not aware of these.
Why are you part of every WhatsApp group? I'm feeling bad. The 2-3 WhatsApp groups I am not part of.
No, that's a WhatsApp group in which people actually play football. Sorry, yes.
Oh, yeah. Screw it, man. Dude, that's so tempting. All right.
Oh,
so
actual football.
I know. So Baru's game is Newcastle versus Southampton and Manav's is City versus Liverpool. And we end the podcast here. Before we end, Manav, what's the score going on for Manchester United?
57 minutes, it's still 2-1. Bruno Fernandes had a free kick which was saved by the keeper.
All right.
Oh, surprise.
On that note, Manav, thanks a lot.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
And bye, Baru. See you
later.
See you after Arsenal's next win.
Oh, yeah. God.
All right. Take care, guys.
Whether you're an established sports person or a budding one, or simply a sports enthusiast, join us, Tanvi and Shlok.
We are 2 passionate pro badminton players talking policy, mindset and everything sport.
So tune in to The Millennial Athlete every Monday.
Only on the IVM Podcast Network.
Trust us, it's gonna be lit.
Are you looking for India's most awesome cricket podcast? Are you now tired of listening to the same old guys drone on about cricket everywhere? Edges and Sledges is a weekly cricket podcast hosted by 3 fans of the game, Varun, DJ, and myself, Ashwin. It was established in early 2018, has over 60 episodes now, and is of course now proud to be on the IVM Podcast Network. Each week, we get together from 3 different time zones, the USA, the UK, and Singapore, and we talk about things from the world of cricket, with a focus on Indian cricket. We often interview special guests from all around the world, including former cricketers and cricket media personalities. So check out Edges and Sledges, the cricket podcast, now on the IVM Network.